Hey everyone, Lisa Pepe here, your wellness and well-being coach at lisaandpepe.com. So today on this wellness and well-being tip for women and any men who care to tune in, I want to talk a little bit about lockdowns. Many of you have probably heard me say that it is one of my least favorite words, and I'm going to tell you why. So first of all, as in the title of this video and this tip, lockdowns lower immunity. That covers about the whole entire gamut of why we should not lock down. But I'll go into that a little bit more later. Right now, I'm going to read to you the definition of lockdown. So this is from the Merriam-Webster definition online. The definition of lockdown, number one, the confinement of prisoners to their cells for all or most of the day as a temporary security measure. 2A, an emergency measure or condition in which people are temporarily prevented from entering or leaving a restricted area or building, such as a school, during a threat of danger. 2B, a temporary condition imposed by governmental authorities as during the outbreak of an epidemic disease, and they just put this one in here, by the way, in which people are required to stay in their homes and refrain from or limit activities outside the home involving public contact, such as dining out or attending large gatherings. Okay, we won't go into that part because I've seen an awful lot of large gatherings just this past weekend and probably this entire year. But my whole thing is I don't like the word lockdown because with those meanings, I don't think we need a lockdown because there are a lot of reasons that the lockdown itself are more harmful than the reason you're being locked down in the first place. Mark my words on that. And as we know, being almost through this year of 2020, if you're watching this at a later date, this is the year 2020, the year of transition, the year of change, the year of I'm not really sure what it is. But this new lockdown around the world and in certain areas in the United States has me very concerned. I don't think there's enough there to cause another complete lockdown. And I'm hoping it's not going in that direction. But I don't agree with them. I am totally against them. As you can see in the definition, each one said temporary. And they also said when there is danger. So I'm completely against them unless there is like immediate danger. In other words, you're going to walk out of your front door and you are going to be killed by gamma radiation. But that's going to be a whole nother post because we all know about the 5G and everything coming up with that. So I'll probably have to do a wellness and well-being tip video on that as well. But, the lockdowns were meant for imminent danger, something that can't be avoided. And even then, they should be for very short periods of time and only when absolutely necessary. And also, they should only be done if they won't cause more harm than good. Okay, so we've all experienced some level of lockdown. This was the stay-at-home order, the close your business order, the whatever order you had in your state or your community, okay? And I know a lot of us felt that it was doing more harm to us than good. We were wondering, what is the real reason for this? Or maybe, hey, is this a little extreme? Do we really have to go this far? Can't we do something different? Aren't there other, ways to handle this? And we have seen pretty much there are other ways to handle it. But for some reason, they keep wanting to put us back in a lockdown. So number one in this lockdown's lower immunity is, you're going to lower your immune system in many different ways by staying home, staying in, not going to work, not going to school, not getting outdoors, not seeing family members, not seeing friends. And we have proven time and time again this year that that can all be done in a safe way. Okay, so I don't know how you all are handling it, but when you talk and speak of lockdown, I'm going to probably use that word in this video, but I do not suggest that we use it all the time. I don't want to use it to describe this. The word itself has a negative connotation. It's very energetically restrictive, and that can cause a lot of stress mentally and physically. And in turn, we know that stress can lower your immunity. So try not to use the word too much. Again, I'm going to probably say it more times in this video than I have said it all year. And just know that you can use other terms, or perhaps, as I'm doing, you can go to your local authorities and ask them to use a different terminology, or perhaps to not do it in the first place, or whatever the degree is that they're going to move forward with this, to call it something else. Okay. I always try to contact my local authorities, and I always push back, especially if I feel something is doing more harm than good. And, the science is always changing. That's another word that's overused this year, because if you look up the definition of science, it's like the ever evolving experimentation with something. So it's always changing. All right. So just push back a little bit, and hey, you might even be able to get others in your community to join you in peaceful petitions, or to push back a little bit, either get that term changed or get them to change what they're doing. The second way that it can lower your immunity is because the air that you're breathing indoors for long periods of time can expose you to stale air, and that air might even contain toxic chemicals from the off-gassing of the materials in your home. That could be anything from carpets, drapes, furniture, any knickknacks you have purchased, or anything else you bring inside. So always make sure, and I did this on one of my other videos, I went through all of the ways to breathe fresh air, and you can get that over at lisampepe.com on my blog page. There's a bunch of blog posts over there that have videos, and you can watch them or just listen along. And I've got a lot of good tips on wellness and well-being topics over there. But breathing fresh air is very important. So if you are staying at home for long periods of time, open the windows once a day, even if it's chilly, air out for a few minutes as long as you can, exchange that air, and also get some air purifiers if you can. I do recommend a few of them, so if you need to talk to me about that, you can always PM me or join my free Facebook group by either going to lisampepe.com and signing up for one of my freebies, and then you'll get a link in the email that you get for the freebie and the connection into the Facebook group. And it is a private group, or you can just go over to facebook.com/groups/wellness and well-being for women. Okay, you'll find me over there under Lisa M. Pepe. So on to number 3 of why the dirty, lousy lockdowns are bad for our immunity and lower our immunity and our immune systems. Number 3 is the vitamin D thing. So there's been so many studies that vitamin D is necessary. We all don't get enough. We're lacking a lot of vitamins and minerals in our food sources these days, in our soils, and because of the pesticides and other toxins. But the vitamin D is something definitely that we need to be supplementing with. The lack of sunlight obviously can lower your vitamin D levels substantially sometimes. So that has been caused to lower your immunity. That's been shown to cause a lower immunity to all viruses, bacteria, germs, whatever that come your way. So we want to make sure we're supplementing. I personally take 5 to 10,000 units a day. I don't recommend I don't know what the USDA is telling you to take now, or whoever it is. Make sure that you're taking more than what they say, because that's like the bare minimum, and you probably won't absorb it all anyway. So make sure you're taking a little bit more than you need. So 5 to 10,000 a day is usually good. And then that way, if you skip a day or two, you still have it in your system. Okay. Also, one of the things that I like to do is sit or lay in front of a sunny window or sliding glass door. That does help get your vitamin D, and you can just do that for a few minutes a day. If you have a space or a place in your house that you can do that, I do recommend it. It also feels really good, and sometimes I've been known to do some, I call it warm yoga, because I'm not really hot, but the sun's shining on me, so it feels really good to stretch when I'm laying there in the sunlight. So also, the lockdown lowering of immunity. If you guys have heard, you probably have heard about SAD, the lack of sunlight that causes the seasonal affective disorder. I think that's kind of a harsh name for it. It's natural during the winter. There's not as much daylight. In colder climates, you're indoors cuddling up. But I also think that some of it is caused by the toxins that are off-gassing. I had it when I lived in a house that I believe had some issues with a leaky propane stove and also maybe some radon. And I got it all cleaned up. But before I did, I felt sad. And I was there for like 7 years. I felt the SAD disorder. Like I felt that probably for like 3 or 4 years. And I really attribute it to not having enough air exchange in my house. So that fresh air thing is really important. And just remember that the lack of sunlight can cause these things, and that would lead to depression or depressive feelings, as I like to say. I don't like to say depression as a disorder, because sometimes we just have some ups and downs, but you might want to make sure that you see your doctor or go to counseling if you need to for that, because it does help to talk to somebody. But definitely, if you're in the northern hemisphere of the United States, you're going to need to do a little bit to help yourself, because these lockdowns, they force the condition even on those who don't normally get it. And a lot of people have been experiencing it. So again, another reason I'm against them, the lockdowns, whatever you want to call them. The life-sucking, lousy, whatever. Pardon me. Anyway, on to number 5. So the lower immunity also is caused by just a lack of socialization. When they tell you to stay home, or don't go out, this business is closed, you can't do this, you can't do that. I think we've learned that we can take certain precautions and still do many of the things that we used to do. I don't agree with the extreme ways that they are doing this. I can tell you that right now. And that's not going into anything political or anything deeper. I just think it's a little extreme. It's causing more harm than good, because that lack of socialization can cause loneliness, depression. And this has been proven out time and time again. And it's also been proven several times this year. And there are studies out that, people get, locked in, and then they act, they're kind of like, well, what do I do with myself? They get on the computer, they, do this, do that. They don't get out and talk to different people as much as they can. They're not in person with people. Human touch is very important. We know this. We've also studied this in babies and children and the elderly. So, we're not getting as much of that as we used to. It can lead to like poor self-esteem. It can lead to the loss of reality. When people are glued in front of the television set all the time, they can totally lose touch with anything other than what they're seeing or hearing on the television. And that is a challenge. I really suggest that you turn it off. Do not just leave it playing in the background. From a well-being standpoint, I don't think all of their opinions are helpful to us. As a matter of fact, I think they harm us. I think they can incite a lot of anxiety, fear, stress, different emotions in us. And that's a whole nother thing that I went into in one of my workshops earlier this month. If you missed that, just make sure you get over to lisaandpepe.com and make sure you get on my email list, and I will send you that. Okay. Let's see here. So while we're busy, locking down or not living our lives, it can also lower your body temperature. It can decrease brain activity, and God knows we don't need any more decreased brain activity these days. Wink, wink. It can also actually, this is a good one. Now, I saw this one and I thought, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but there was something in my mind and my intuitive nature that kind of clicked with this one. See if it does for you. But studies have shown that the lack of socialization and being locked down indoors can actually disturb or decrease the ability to empathize with others. And we've seen that as we are on social media. We've seen people who would say things on social media that they wouldn't say to you in person. And we've seen that just, with the past generation where they're not as in touch with each other. First we thought it was, their head's always in their phone, they're always on their computer. But now we're realizing that it's actually causing them a lot of other issues. So make sure that, if you have kids or, young adults, you're explaining this all to them, because, the fact that they can't empathize with people is only going to hurt their futures and the future of, obviously, our country and the world. And you can connect the dots there. I won't do that on this video. If you'd like to talk to me in person, go to lisampepe.com and sign up for one of my coaching sessions. And you and I can have a discussion about anything you'd like. And you can pick my brain, ask Lisa anything, and I will intuitively tell you what I pick up on, okay? And we can do that in a private, just you and I, coaching session. So get on over to my website and sign up for one of those if you'd like. And if not, just make sure that you are realizing what these shut-in orders can actually do to us and what they are doing to us. And the fact that they keep doing it is making me question their motives. I personally know that, we have immune systems and we have a God-given right to our immune systems, our body, our health, and everything else. And as much as I know that there are viruses out there, because there have been for a long time, and a lot of them I've gotten the flu, I've had colds, I've had everything, right? Bronchitis, I'm sure, we've all had a little mixed bag of everything, right? And it really probably sucked to have it. And if we kept up and we were healthy, we got through it, right? If you're older and you have a compromised immune system to begin with, please take your precautions as you see fit. But for all of the healthy people out there, when we go into these lockdown, stay-at-home modes, it actually hurts us more than it helps us. And I'm hoping that we can convince enough people that this is not the way to go. Like I said, I don't like what I'm seeing with them for all the reasons I listed here. There's many other ways that these lousy, life-sucking lockdowns can lower your immunity, but I think we've covered a lot here. And if you want to cover some more that might be affecting you, sign up for one of my personal private coaching sessions and we'll work through it. I do believe that there are better answers. And as we have done in the past, we've always learned to live with these viruses. We've always been able to overcome and move forward. Okay, so don't let anybody fool you that every single person in the entire world is going to be immediately harmed by what's out there. No, that is not the case. And we don't want to break any food chains. We don't want to break any toilet paper chains. We don't want to do that. So the healthy people have got to go out and work. We've got to learn to live with this, and we've got to figure out something better than the lockdowns, okay? So hopefully this is the last time I'm going to say that word, because even saying it just makes me cringe. I don't know how you feel about it, but like I said, if you're afraid, if you're immune compromised, if you have issues, please, please, please protect yourself. Stay home. Do what you need to do. But those of us who are healthy and have to work and have to move about and have to do our thing, don't put us under the same restrictions, okay? And I know some people are saying, well, you might have this, you might have that. Might. There's no 100% guarantee in life on anything. Okay. So, you might get hit by a car. Okay. Something else might happen. We don't know. Life is short. I believe in God and a higher power. I believe, hopefully I'm going someplace nice, and I hope that you do too. I do see that faith has a lot to do with things these days, and I'll do another video on that. I don't want to keep you all too long. So just back to the immune system, and try not to lower your immune system. Try to find workarounds for any stay-at-home orders wherever you're at, and try to go to your local authorities and see if they can ease up on them. And you can bring to them the studies and the cases that are out there. You can just Google or DuckDuckGo them, and DuckDuckGo is a private browser, so you might want to try that. And just bring them the studies and see what they say. You might actually be able to convince them. I know in the beginning of all this, we had to do a few things that seemed a little extreme in my county. But within 3 days, we all talked to the county commissioner, and he agreed with us, and he reopened several things right away so we could partake in exercise and outdoor, fresh air, and different things. So you need to stand up for yourself, and you need to not stay home and lock down if it's doing more harm than good, especially if there are other workarounds and other ways to be able to live your life and get out there and do what you need to do. Okay. So contact me at lisaandpepe.com. Once you're on my website, that first page has the free wellness assessment. Take that, see what you come up with, see how you're doing in all areas of your life. And then if you want, get a coaching session with me and we can talk it over. Get in my free group, and once you take that assessment, we can discuss it in the free group or privately, but also you'll get on my email list, so I'll let you know when the next workshop is, okay? So live your life. Stay strong, stay safe, but live your life. Do all these things to boost your immune system. Oh, and also go on my video blog over at lisaandpepe.com. I have a complete 45-minute mini training on boosting your immune system with a handout, and that you can find in the free resources or over at just the blog post. Just go up to the top and click the tab that says blog. Okay. In the meantime, like I said, stay healthy, boost your immune system, and let's all get through this, and let's push back a little bit so we're not harming ourselves and the cure is not worse than the actual disease. Okay. Bye-bye for now. Talk to you soon.